Hi friend, Philip Mason here. I just wanted to share with you 3 insights from my morning study and also a conversation I had with my wife about homeschooling and about learning. As you know, my wife and I are both amateur and professional teachers. We've also been homeschooling our children for 20 years now. And there's 3 things that we've observed that I want to share with you. And so I'm going to start with the first one here. I'm just referencing my notes here. But the first one that we've noticed, especially in our school systems here in America, is there's a learned helplessness that a lot of students have. And I think it's something that is cultivated in the school systems. And I'm going to share a story with you that'll kind of help illustrate this in just a moment. But as teachers, we really want our students, particularly our children, as we homeschool our children, we want them to be agents unto themselves, to act and not be acted upon. And you know, when they have this learned helplessness, they don't have a desire for learning. They don't have a desire to cultivate understanding in their minds. And so in homeschooling, we kind of remove some of the barriers that are holding them back and give them an opportunity to explore and to learn on their own. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I've seen this as a teacher. I've also been a student on the other end, and at times I've been guilty of learned helplessness. Part of this is jumping to my third point, which is learning is a proactive exercise. It's something that we have to take effort on. So when we explore, we're exploring to find the truth. We're exploring to find the answer. And so that is a very proactive thing. It takes faith, it takes effort, it takes discipline. And the helplessness just goes away. It disappears when you take that approach. So have your children be an agent unto themselves as they're learning. You don't have to command them in every single thing. You don't have to instruct them in every single thing. Let them do a lot of on their own learning time. There may be some structured time, but keep it very minimal. My second point here is we live in a society with tons of programs. If we want to learn something, a lot of times we go find a program. There's a program for this, there's a program for that. And a lot of children get overscheduled. They get overprogrammed. And parents, if they want their children to learn something, they throw their kid in another program. Pretty soon, Susie or Paul are in 6 or 7 different programs, and mom and dad are running like crazy getting them to all those programs, or they're at school for 12 hours a day and they come home exhausted. And for some students that might work okay, but for most students it helps with that learned helplessness, and they start shutting down, they start becoming overtired, and they stop trying to put effort into things. A lot of times that's what we see happen. And so a lot of what we do in homeschooling is removing some of those barriers, some of those structures, some of that over-programming, and being able to just say, let's clear the calendar, let's clear the schedule, and let's kind of cut some of the programs. It doesn't mean you get rid of all of them, but you cut some of them and just say, okay, what's really important about learning that allow me and allow my child to really thrive, to explore and to dig deep and to become a person of substance because of what they've learned and the truth that they're discovering. So those are the 3 things. You know, our culture, our society has that learned helplessness. So have your children be agents to themselves, to take action. Second is programs aren't learning. Learning is a process all by itself, and it doesn't require any structure. It doesn't require any programs. You can learn just by picking up a book. You can learn just by talking with a mentor. You can learn, for those of you who are Christians, you'll understand that you can learn just by listening to the Holy Ghost and what God can teach you, but through prayer and through meditation. The third is learning is proactive. So it's taking steps, it's exploring the truth, it's finding out what you're interested in and taking time to learn everything that you can on that topic. There is a great quote by Leonardo da Vinci, which is often attributed to him, but he says, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. That is so true in homeschooling. The more simple we make things, usually the more profound impact we see in our children. So learning can be very simple, it can be very powerful without all the programs, without all the structure. There's a book series. It's called The Big Red series, and I read it as a youth growing up, and I really enjoyed it. It's about an Irish setter. In fact, there's several Irish setters in the series. They're all related to each other, and there's one particular story that I really love. So one of the Irish setters, he's a champion hunting dog, and so he's going up against some pretty stiff competition. And the young man who is leading this setter in this competition, he's up against more experienced men who have very highly trained dogs in hunting situations. So he goes in this competition, and he's reached the final bracket, and he's competing against the very best dog. And he's with his Irish setter, and he takes a totally different approach. He kind of takes the homeschooling approach with his dog, and he really teaches his dog to be autonomous and to be able to go and to find the bird, or to be able to find the prey and be able to bring it back to him. This other champion hunting dog that he's competing against, that dog's downfall is he has to wait for every command from his master to be able to act. And that's kind of what we do in a lot of our programs in our society or in our public school systems, is students oftentimes have to wait for every little instruction from their teachers, and they can't do anything unless they have some guidance or instruction from their teacher, and they just kind of throw their hands up in the air if they're not given an instruction and detailed instruction on every little thing. And then this helplessness kind of floods over them, and it's almost kind of a victim mentality too that plays into that. So in this book, in the Big Red series, this Irish setter that's autonomous, because this young man gave him that freedom and took him off the leash and trained him just to go out and be proactive and find that bird, and to use all these techniques that he's learned through instinct and through experience. He becomes the new champion dog because he's autonomous, and he doesn't have the handicap of having to wait for every little instruction from his master. So that's a great scene from the Big Red series. It's a classic now. It's a great one. If you guys haven't read those, they're good ones to read with your children. So I'm just looking at my notes here. I think those are the 3 insights that my wife and I discussed this morning, and just reflecting over my time homeschooling with my children and as a professional teacher. Those are some of the things that I've noticed. Thank you for spending time with me today. It's been a pleasure. And I'm Philip Mason, and I look forward to visiting with you in our next video.